And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another GrowVeg Challenge live session. I'm your host for tonight, Chinenye, and we have here with us a special guest speaker, Dr. Richard Olayiwola, who will be speaking to us about sustainable practices in vegetable production. Good evening, sir. You're welcome. Thank you for giving us a platform to ask you certain questions. Please kindly introduce yourself to our audience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Naya, for doing this again. As announced earlier, my name is Richard Olayiwola. I'm a chickpea breeder with the chickpea breed in Australia. I'm also a chief scientist at Leverage Seeds Limited. I'm always happy to champion our West to train our participants on the state of the art and latest technique in vegetable production. And we are here again to do a launch as part of our talk series uh, for the GrowVeg Challenge 4.0.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
sir.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Richard, the first question I have for you is on sustainable vegetable production. So, what does sustainable vegetable production really mean in practical terms?
Uh, Thank you. Simply put, once it comes to sustainable, it has to be about how can it last. Now, not just about it enduring, it's also about getting a balance between actually making money from growing vegetable, but more importantly, creating a cleaner and safer environment in terms of the practice. So you can look at it from several angles. Any approach that would ensure income and still help environment to be safe, of course, will be practical terms of sustainable vegetable production. This can range from, say, hydroponics with all of its advantages, where you can optimize nutrition and then you don't really need to like disturb the soil and you still get, huge produce. It also can also involve optimizing genetics, where on the same area of land or even less, you get to harvest more or produce more based on the genetics that you are applying, of course, and that is so much available to us now using rootstock technique in tomato and other plants. It also will be optimizing nutrition, that's fertilizer application, right timing, and just when plants can actually use what is being applied. Because the as good as fertilizers are, producing them or even transporting them, needs a lot of fossil fuel. So there's need to get a balance right of applying and then also still keeping the environment safe. It can also be about optimizing pest control and other cultural practices like crop rotation, where we have, a perfect sequence to keep soil health, make it sustainable, make production sustainable, or even use of cover crop. I mean, it's a um, it's a broad area, but that just zeroes on making profit in production, vegetable or any crop, but more importantly, making the environment safe.
Thank you so much, Dr. Richard. Thank you very much. I'm sure everyone who has listened now understands fully what sustainable vegetable production is all about. So, why is sustainability important, especially for smallholder farmers, not just those who have large farms?
Well, and you look at it, I first say it's about a multiplier effect because first, in terms of if you take a census or do a survey, I think in our area and our region, there are more smallholder farmers than even what we call big time commercial producers. So it then means that the inroad to the marketplace, is better flooded by smallholder farmers. So if we want to uh, like stay healthy and then keep producing, like I mentioned earlier, being sustainable, then it's important that this practice of sustainable production also is well considered by smallholder farmers. So simply put, everyone wants to stay healthy, everyone wants to produce safely, I mean greener and cleaner environment, make more money. This is not only the business for big time farmers, it's also concern for smallholders who, as I mentioned earlier, even have better inroads to a marketplace and then influencing more of what we consume as a people.
Sorry. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. So now we want to look at the difference between sustainable farming and conventional farming. So how do they differ in terms of practices? Okay.
Well, I mean, in local parlance to say farming is farming. It doesn't matter what you do. But
Yes, sir.
the key thing is because when you look at it, it's still about production. But the thin line difference would be that for conventional farming, things happen randomly. Things are done not necessarily without the basic understanding of why they are being done. But in terms of the theory. But we talk about sustainable production. This, of course, will be a deliberate attempt to apply tested and trusted theories for a particular to get a particular result. So, I mean, for example, if you are talking about timely application of fertilizer or trying to combine different methods of controlling pests, this is a deliberate attempt. It requires technical knowledge, you know. That's why I said it's not just doing things randomly. Things are done deliberately with better understanding of how the science work at the background. So that's the key difference. Otherwise, it's the same production, but producing with knowledge of what happens in the background. So that's my point on that.
Thank you, sir. So I would like to recognize our viewers tonight. We have Dr. Abidini. Good to see you, Dr. Richard and Nene. Good. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for the encouragement. Then we have Clara. Clara says, good evening, Dr. Olayiwola. Good evening, Madam Chi. Good evening to you as well. And good evening to all our other viewers who are listening tonight. Thank you for joining us. And if you missed, you can always go back to our Facebook pages to watch the playback of our live session. Thank you so much and welcome once again. So back to you, Dr. Richard. So what practice help maintain long-term soil fertility in vegetable farming?
Important. I mean, when we talk about it takes us again back to sustainability because when we talk about the environment, obviously what comes to mind is soil, and then maintaining soil fertility plays a star role in this endeavor. So the first thing that is important is first to look after soil health. A fertile soil is a healthy is healthy, and to maintain the health of the soil, it's important to consider what goes into the soil in terms of what we grow on the soil. So, right sequence of cropping is important. You don't want to, like we told our participants, in the past, and then we also repeat it again to them when the new ones come on board. In your sequence, you don't want to put members of the same family in succession. You also don't want to grow in succession heavy feeders. For example, you don't put a fruit vegetable after a fruit vegetable because all of this intensification, of course, reduces the matter you've got in the soil, and this would impact on the soil health and by extension, soil fertility. The other point that I've mentioned earlier is about right and timely application of every amendment or intervention. So to to ensure that what goes into the soil is actually used up by the plants to reduce any form of toxicity or dragging the pH lower down to acidity, because of course acid soils are, I mean, inherently not fertile soil. I mean, the other one that we know generally would be to use organic manure to help bulk density and then the aggregation of soil structure. Cause minimum disruption to the soil in terms of conventional tillage, all of this, because I mean maximum tillage erodes what we call the deep soil, and this has a big effect or big impact on soil fertility. So all in all, it's just been deliberate. And that's why I talked about difference between conventional and sustainable practice. Again, is you've been deliberate about the theory and the practice behind of why it's been done.
Yes,
It's
sir.
just looking after soil health, just consider the soil as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. To all our viewers, you can see that there's so much Dr. Richard has to offer us tonight, but he's just giving us bits of it. But if you want to learn more, you can always feel free to go to the Leverage Fresh Limited Facebook page or Dr. Bidimi's Facebook page, and you get details of how you can join the GrowVeg Challenge 4.0 that is coming up on the 15th of September. And you have access to numerous resources and also access to experts just like Dr. Richard, where you can ask all the questions and also learn more from them. Thank you again, once again, Mr. Richard, for this opportunity. So I'll be going to the comment section. Yes, we have more people joining their comments. Dr. William, thank you for the encouragement. Thank you, sir. We have ABS Amos. Good evening to you as well. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Clara, once again. Then we have Mr. Bamdele Emmanuel. Thank you for joining us and good evening to you as well. We have Stephen. Stephen says good evening. Good evening to you as well and thank you for joining us this evening. Then we have Joseph Anthony. Good evening to you as well. Thank you for joining us. We have Clara again. Fine evening. Thank you, Clara, for being interactive. Thank you so much. So I'll be going back to Dr. Richard. The next question I have for you is on organic manure. So can composting and organic manure really replace chemical fertilizers?
Thank you, Naya, for this one. This is rightly putting me on the spot because it's I mean, it's just like saying which jollof rice is better, if you know what I mean, but yeah, putting things into perspective, or I mean, into context. I think my first intervention would be that why would we think about using one to replace the other? And my argument is this: yes, um, organic manure, natural, compost, of course, also natural. I mean, biodegradable and all of that. But we come to the case of quantity. How much can actually can one get? I mean, on the big acreage, if everyone were to just focus on using compost or just using organic manure, how much can we really get? I mean, worldwide. That is one part of that. And the other one is even for the chemical fertilizers as well. I mean, they're effective, slow releasing, and all of that. But I've mentioned earlier that producing fertilizer, I mean, use a lot of fossil fuel, and this is of climate change that we are being careful talking about sustainability. So both the point is both has got pros and cons. So what I would think about is rather than thinking of replacing one with the other, let's think about integrated nutrient management so that we can use combine the two, this two, and then we can use less of the two, or probably tweak towards organic manure and composting more, and then supplement with the chemical fertilizer. So I'm not here to sit down to say replace one with the other one because practically it's really difficult. But using them to as complementary supply, I think it's practicable and it's what we really can do. I mean, looking towards integrated nutrient management. And the point is, for example, if you what you need want to use composting or you want to use organic manure, I mean you apply those like earlier in the season. So if or just before the season commences. So if you have good deposit of that has helped the density, water holding capacity of the soil, giving it organic matter. I mean, you have deposit of nutrients already. It then would mean even if you're going to supplement with chemical fertilizers as season or the growing period proceeds, it's going to be less than what would have used if that soil had not have an issue. I mean, so this is a way finding ways around combining both, but replacing that with the other one. Who I wish, but I mean, just all difficult. And the other thing is, people even make cases against the manure, depending on where it's coming from. I mean, what is manure? It's just waste from animals. I mean, people have made cases that some of these animals also during production they've given different antibiotics that go to their muscle. Some then go down to the feces itself, and then you have traces of every metals, even in what is produced using some of this manure. So I mean, yes, you can do curing. I mean, so the point is just to say pros and cons. Let's combine both and not replace one with the other.
Thank you so much, Dr. Richard. And because of the reference you made on jollof rice, Dr. Bidemi to raised it and said Nigerian jollof is better than Ghana jollof. If you want to have this argument, this is a case that has never been settled.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Thank you all for viewing, and thank you again, Dr. Richard. Really appreciate it. So now let's look at crop rotation. What role does it play when it comes to sustainability?
Well, I mean, it's simply put because when you look at it, what really benefits from crop rotation most? I mentioned earlier, it is the soil, and that's our point of growth. Because when you rotate, then you have sequence. But it's not just about rotating; it's about having the right sequence. I mean, I've mentioned key things to be looked at. Are they from the same families? Because members of the same family will be susceptible to almost the same pest and disease. So when you continue to rotate or have your sequence and having members of the same family following themselves, you are just helping disease and pest cycle. This is against the spirit or against the I mean against what the achievement or what you want to achieve when you rotate your crop. I mean, yeah. So the other thing is when the sequence is right, you can then break disease and pest and cycle. And depending on how you even do your rotation, you can even application of the nutrient status of the soil. For example, using a nodal fixing, nitrogen fixing crop to follow, for example, one that will not do the same. Of course, replenishing the soil in that sequence, and this can impact again how much fertilizer you want to use in subsequent season. You know, so this is the thing. It will improve soil health and then break pest and disease cycle. And of course, can reduce fertilizer and use of pesticides. So this is what the contribution of crop rotation, simply put, in sustainability.
Thank you so much for breaking it down in that it's such an easy way. And I'm sure our viewers here have understood the role of crop rotation when it comes to sustainability. Thank you so much, Dr. Richard. So now let's talk about pest management. Now, what's integrated pest management and how can GrowVeg participants apply it? Or how can our yes, our viewers are part of us, so how can we be able to apply the integrated pest management?
Well, thank you. I mean,
Yes, sir.
we've I mean, on the sideline, something we call spray bullet. I mean, I've mentioned talked about integrated. I mean, not spray bullet. I mean, it was not planned. And then, but then we're talking about integrated nutrient management. I mean, it's just all
Yes.
about you combining different methods together. I mean, pest in this case, I will also include weed, not just insect pest. You know, yeah. So it's all about you have different methods of controlling you could use. I mean, chemical using you can use also bio agent. Then just simple cultural method, even including crop rotation. I mean, we can't take crop rotation for granted that we mentioned earlier. I mean, it's just anything that combines different method to preclude the success of agents. I mean, pests that are inimical to our production. So how can be maybe practically used? First, if our viewers and participants look at hygiene, for example, simple practice. You look at weed, for example. I mean, for some time now we've been using plastic mulch. As simple as it is, it takes off weed because what is not there, you don't need to control. And then when you, because what the integrated practice will do is to reduce, to prevent even the occurrence of what you want to control. That's why you begin to use lesser of everything. So it's a combination of all. For if we, for example, grow tomato genotype of variety that is more resistant to prevailing disease or prevailing pest in the area, it limits the amount of pesticide you want to pour on that in that environment. That is one. You still get to use, but if you reduce what you have to use, if you also have a good sequence, and then tomato is not following tomato, incidence of pests, of course, again reduces. Plus, you using something that is resistant, of course, again generally reduce how much of pesticide against you want to apply. So this is all about it. It's all about planning, you know, putting all interventions together that will achieve the same result, and then just using reduce amount of each of the different intervention. And like I mentioned, this also extends to pests and of course to weed. And this is, I mean, I think it's part of our curriculum in GrowVeg. Some of these things we cannot exhaust here. So it is what a participant have got in stock. I mean, real practice for them to see how this really can be done. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Richard. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So I'll just go through the comments. Okay, we have Mr. Tunde says, thank you, Doctor. Great insight from you. Thank you, Mr. Tunde, for the wonderful encouragement. And yes, we are getting real insights from Dr. Richard, and I'm sure that those who are listening are also learning. And those who have not registered, like I said, this is a great opportunity, and you get to hear from experts like Dr. Richard, Dr. Abidemi, and so many others. And then this is a lifetime skill that you can always use. Whatever you learn now, it's yours to take, and I know that you won't regret it. And I want to also welcome my co-host Sharon, who just joined. You're welcome, Sharon. Okay, so while she's still setting up, I'll ask Dr. Richard the next question I have for him. Also on the pest controls. Well, now we're looking at natural pest control. Are there natural pest control methods that people that actually works for vegetables?
The answer is yes. And how did I know this? Years ago, in my undergraduate study, my first research project in life was to use natural method to control insects based on tomatoes and cowpea. So practically, the answer is yes. And then because we can use botanical extracts, and importantly, we've got this rich biology, particularly in Nigeria. Members of the family Asteraceae, that's where we've got goatweed, if I remember very well, Agerantum conizoides, and also Tridents. I mean, all of these have been found, and even currently, studies are on them to actually uh, to control relationship between aphids, of course, the sap sucking insects, that is a worry in immense in vegetable production. And also other members of that Homoptera group that all do suck on the sap, and this can, I mean, they suck nutrients. They also become a precursor to other pathogens in production. And also the members of the Emitera, those who pierce and then suck. Associated family members have great insecticidal effect on their bioactivity, and so extracts from these members, it's highly effective. And of course, we are also aware of natural enemies of some of these insect pests. So it's about understanding the area we are, and then applying. And the good thing is, I mean, some of these things are also available now in solution that actually can then be directly applied. And for a small holder, for somebody having a little garden just at the backyard, just getting Osimum, Gratissimum of the bigger one, Basilicum, that's scent leaf, extract from that. It's also massive, because most of these uh, plants, they've got what we call alkaloids and flavonoids that contain that contain active principles that actually can affect fecundity, and also the life cycle of some of these insect pests. So the answer is yes, and they are a bulk, and it's something I've tested and used myself, and there are loads of studies on that. So I mean, this is part of what we are going to be sharing with our members. I mean, during the challenge. So anyone who's not on board yet should think about coming on board.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you so much. So I just have a personal question. So this natural pest control method, are they better off than using the chemical pest control methods?
Again, I go back to my jollof rice. Which one is better? Well, and you see, the truth of the matter is, for these ones, yes, you see that clear that they are better off, because when you apply, and this affects the export market. Currently here, we're working on a project, and then doing a model, and then also looking at consumers' willingness to pay, because you see, there's what we call consumer social behavior. Even on the shelf, you see some products are marked pesticide free. Those products actually command what we call premium price, you know, for one bit. Because when you apply biodegradable natural pesticide, even if they go into your crop, I mean, the residue in them is actually also edible. I mean, I just talked about scent leaf. Scent leaf is an important member of pepper soup, right? So if that one even goes into maybe your okra, for example, I mean, it's still best for best, right? But getting toxic chemicals, pyrethroids, organophosphate, their residue in our vegetables, I mean, becomes an issue where regulation, or when you begin to grade for residual limit, you know. So all of this, from the other end, from the chemical angle, of course, becomes a worry. Now, because some of these things are actually also naturally, I mean, uh, they are by themselves naturally available. I mean, scent leaf, you just need a bit of it, and then you have it almost everywhere, you know. So it's really better. I mean, because this affects health directly. Yeah, people can argue that these days chemistry also are not as toxic as they used to be. Yet
Yes.
they are still toxic, right? Yeah. So the point is, yes, way better,
Thank you.
and
Thank you,
commands
sir.
better price.
So at the end of the day, is a Nigerian jollof that is better than Ghana jollof.
I'm
Exactly.
not trying to say which one is better, because I've got Ghanaian friends. I don't want them. So on that, I'll stay political.
Thank you so much, doctor. Thank you, sir. Sharon, you're welcome once again. Mm. Okay, I'll be handing over to you. Thank you so much. Okay, I think Sharon's network is okay. Okay. All right.
Okay,
Okay.
let me go
Sharon's
ahead and
network. Okay.
sorry, my network is quite unstable. So let me ask Doctor that is sustainable vegetable production truly profitable for small farmers?
Well, in the long run, the answer is yes. Because I mean, if you say small older farmer, and I'm looking at, let's even limit it to somebody who has, say, 1 or 2 acres, for example. I mean, just looking at I mean, at a stretch. Because if the person is doing a sustainable practice, then you imagine that there's a lot of manure that will be incorporated into that one, or even some kitchen waste that the farmer will be using as compost. So to begin with, the grower, if also very smart using, I mean, very high quality genetics, would have reduced cost of production, because that's the first point. Because the person has got access to different organic manure available. The person spent less amount of money on fertilizer, and if the person also finds other methods that minimize pest incidents, then he spend less amount of money, of course, again on the chemicals. I mean, this means this person is producing, I mean, something richer. And if a case could be made for the person in the market, the person controls more value than those who have just grown using all forms of chemicals. So the answer is yes. The answer is yes. And it's not just, it's profitable in terms of income, but also safer environment. Thank you.
Okay, yes, sir. So let me greet our viewers again. That thank you for staying till, till this time. I'll be asking Dr. Richard the final question. It says, what's your final piece of advice for GrowVeg Challenge 4.0 participants about adopting sustainable practices?
Well, the first point would be, I mean, and that was our first point when we talked about making money from production, and also healthy environment. It's also about healthy even grower, because the use of different chemicals, I mean, excessively, that affects the environment, is also about the farmer himself exposing himself to some of these products. So, and then we're talking about soil health. We're talking about reducing how much of greenhouse emissions, reducing reducing the use of different toxic chemicals. So the big point would be, and the smart move would be, to think about how to reduce some of this intervention. And we look at our health. I mean, what we expose ourselves to, what we grow and eat eventually. So, and that is why I think we are getting so strong now on sustainable practice, which will form a big piece of this current challenge. So it's something to look into, and not think it's impossible. It's really possible. Studies have shown, practices have. Let us look at our health. Let us look at the environment, because you want to grow, keep growing, and keep growing, and keep producing continually. That's sustainability. If we don't consider the future and just want to harvest the best now, then we cannot continue that in the long term. So the big point is, it's something to really look at. And then I think we also got a good roadmap and layout and plan strategy to adopt this practice in this current challenge. Hi, Sharon.
Sorry, so my network kept going off.
Oh yes, technology, you know.
So the final question was on the advice for GrowVeg Challenge 4.0 participants.
Yeah. So we took that with with Sharon, and I'll just recap to say that we need to consider, I mean, soil health, consider our health as well, reduce
Yes, sir.
exposure to toxic chemicals. You know, yes, keep growing, make profit, but also think about the future. That is why sustainable production is the intake. And I mentioned that we have um we have this I mentioned that we have this roadmap, you know, and then the strategy map for our growers, our participants to adopt and to really use sustainable production practices.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for
Okay.
today. So our
Maybe
network is
the
quite
chat. Do we have any
unstable.
questions
So
from the chat or
yes, sir. Let me
Okay,
go
just
through.
comments,
okay?
which was clear.
For our viewers, thank
Okay.
so
So thank
someone
you
is
all
saying,
for doing this. Yeah.
sir, come to Sierra Leone and eat better jollof. But Nigeria jollof is still one of the best. I'll be giving it that.
Okay.
Yes,
I know do.
sir.
But does not have any stand with that.
It's okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for your
Yes, sir.
time. Yeah.
So we've come to an end for this live video. So saying thank you for staying with us. Thank you, Dr. Richards. Thank you, Miss Naye. And to all our
Thank
viewers,
you.
thank you for joining. Till next time. Goodbye.
Have a good time. Bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone.